Hi, everyone. I'm Dylan McGee. I am the founder and executive producer of Makers, coming to you live from my family room in Westchester, where it's a little rainy and a little windy and a little gloomy, but we're going to bring sunshine your way today with Makers at Home. Today's guest is the one and only Katie Couric. Many people, when they introduce people, they say, my hero, so-and-so. Katie truly is my hero. I, as a college student who should have been sleeping in the mornings, would get up every morning to watch her anchor the Today Show. So I have been following her for a long time and truly give her credit for inspiring me to be a documentary filmmaker. And of course, she was the first female solo anchor of nightly news, and that just was a historic moment. And then she was, the global editor-in-chief of Yahoo, and she has recently started the prolific Katie Couric Media. And I don't know about you, but when COVID hit, really, I have found two sources of information and inspiration, and those are the New York Times and Katie Couric. Katie has been pretty extraordinary in her coverage of COVID, both from the human standpoint and the reliable information standpoint. She turned Katie Couric Media, her daily wake-up newsletter is really my go-to. She posts on Instagram, and I'm sure all the other social media platforms, her daily updates. Her podcast, Next Question, has been a incredible source of information during this time. And she, of course, in her Katie way, makes it fun. She's playing piano for global citizens together at home. She is cooking with Ina Garten on Friday night. I was actually cooking as I listened to her with Nancy Meyer. So in her Katie way, she's keeping it real, keeping us informed, and always making us smile. So I don't know how she does it all, and I don't know how she's juggling it all, but we're certainly going to find out. So Katie, here we go. I'm coming to you. Okay. Here we go. Always most fun.
Ta-da! Hi, Dylan. How are you?
I'm okay.
Oh my God. Can I just say something completely shallow? Your hair looks so good.
Oh my God.
You've got the beachy, wait a second. You've got the beachy wave thingy going. How is that possible?
It's my COVID hairdo. It's called Don't Blow Dry Your Hair and put in a couple curls.
I like it. It's working, sister. Yeah.
Thanks.
And I'm so happy to talk to you. Sorry.
How are you
Everyone yells at me, Dylan, when I'm doing this, that I always touch my face. And it's true. I had the worst. I'm just always touching my face. And it's been so hard not doing that.
How does your hair look so good? Can you blow dry yourself?
I blew it out myself, and I actually dyed it myself because I had gray about down to here. You can kind of see where I dyed it, actually. Oh, thank you. I just got one of those ring lights from Amazon, so I don't look as heinous as I thought.
You look amazing.
But anyway, so, just doing my thing, trying as best I can. And, we're very lucky that we have our homes and we have our loved ones. And, anytime I feel like complaining about the situation, I think of all the people who are really, really struggling, who are losing loved ones, the people, Dylan, who are in dire financial straits right now, who are worried about putting food on the table for their kids. So it's a really unprecedented time. And I think I've always been a pretty empathetic person, but now more than ever, I feel so deeply for everyone who's going through a hard time right now. So, I have absolutely zero complaints here. We're talking about our hair and getting my roots, doing my roots myself. When when people are really, really having a hard time. And I think that one of the interesting things, Dylan, is it's brought out in stark relief. I mean, we've always known about income inequality, and I did an interview with Robert Reich the other day, and the fact that it's almost, there's a huge division between people who are able to shelter in place, and poverty, as we say, is a comorbidity. And I think it does really underscore the income inequity that exists in this country, and the fact that the American dream just isn't really as readily available for so many people.
At the same time, do you feel I mean, you have obviously covered a lot of crises in your lifetime. And do you feel that there are also silver linings that will come out of this?
Gosh, I hope so. I think under normal circumstances there would be. Oh, gosh, that's really hard to say. I want to say yes without hesitation, but I also think that the divisions and the political chasm that exists in this country is almost being deepened through conversations about the president's response and the president's personal style and how he handles things. So I hope that 9/11, when George W. Bush went down on the pile and everybody was so united behind him, behind the country. I wonder if that feeling is possible given the current political divide. I just don't know. I think one thing is for sure, that people at the grassroots level are doing so much. And I think we do have a lot that connects us. And when you see these acts of kindness and people reaching out, helping their neighbor, something that I think we just didn't think about enough, and this desire to rekindle the human connection, I think we're starting to see that come out, in wonderful ways. And it's almost like, I don't mean to get all philosophical and weird and heavy here,
I
but
love it.
that all this stuff is going on. It's almost like God said, hey, everybody, I think you've got your priorities all wrong. And now is the time to recalibrate and renew your commitment to the things that are really important, which really are your relationships and how you help other people. And, when Jay was sick, he used to say, the only thing that matters is your family and friends when all is said and done. And I think that this is a time for us to maybe sit back and reconsider our priorities and focus on things that are really important. This really, we're such good friends, and we usually goof off so much. I don't know why I just went and did such a heavy thing right there, but it does make you think about a lot of things, right?
No, I mean, I think, and that's honestly, Katie, I agree that that's sort of the magic of what you do. I mean, I was just literally, before we got on, I was looking at Instagram and how you posted that couple and, that young father who, is now no longer with us. And it is such a moment to reflect on what matters, and touching in, and the fact that you give us those moments only, makes it, real.
Well, I'm trying really hard to, I'm a journalist and have been for many years, and I'm trying to cover this. And, I've diversified my portfolio. When I started this company, we're creating content in every arena. I have a daily newsletter called Wake Up Call, a tremendous staff of women who put it together every day, except on Sunday. And then I have a podcast, as you mentioned, you were going down the list. Instagram, I formed a real community. I feel weirdly close to my followers. I feel like we're kind of, I don't know, they gravitate to me and I gravitate to them because they care about the same things I care about. So for example, Julia Lewis, who helps me with my social media, it was her idea during these mass shootings to profile the people who died, because I think there's so much news and information out there, Dylan, that it becomes incredibly dehumanizing. So we started posting little bios, really obituaries in a way, to explain the lives that have been lost. The fact that these were people with families, with children, with parents, with brothers and sisters. And it was sort of like the portraits of grief that the New York Times did after 9/11. And it was such a really important contribution, I think, to the conversation, to show people what had happened. And now we're doing it again with COVID-19 victims. Obviously, we can't do everyone, but trying to get a really good cross section. And at the end of each story, we say, you mattered, because we really are focused so much on stats, how many people are sick, how many people have died, that we want to make sure that we tell stories about people. And that's why, the podcast, Lauren Zucker, is called Next Question. Someone just asked, but thank you for asking. I'm so appreciative that I have this platform, because I'm not working in network news anymore. You can only have so much latitude in what you do, because it's all about ratings, unfortunately. And I feel like I can take these platforms, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, and I can basically say, these are the things I care about, and this is the kind of information I want to share. I'm sorry I'm talking so much. That was very long-winded.
Well, no, I was curious, and you just answered how it's different, how you're, first of all, working from home, how that's going, but how coverage, how it's different for you doing it in your way versus doing it for a network. And it sounds like you're able to speak to what matters to you,
well,
and what your audience wants.
Yeah. And, I have a real nose for news, Dylan. That hasn't changed. So immediately I started thinking, I want to interview these frontline workers. I want to interview nurses and doctors and respiratory therapists. I want to interview EMTs. So I started doing them, and my friends at Time Magazine saw them, and they said, why don't we collaborate on these? We'll put them on our platform too. We'll help with the production, because we have about 16 people at my company, but everybody's doing everything right now. And so we started doing those. And so that's a wonderful way I can pay tribute and hear real stories. And right now I'm trying to find a psychologist who's working with the doctors and nurses and everybody in the hospital, because they're going through their own trauma. And, they need help. I saw on Instagram, it was almost so raw, I was afraid to post it, Dylan, of a nurse that was just so traumatized from the day she had experienced. And so anyway, there's so many facets to this story, and so many things that I'm interested in, from science to loneliness. I interviewed Vivek Murthy, who was President Obama's Surgeon General, on loneliness and social isolation. It's really, really hard for people who are living by themselves, or you can feel lonely even if you're surrounded by people, and kind of how to really connect. He said something so interesting to me, and I think I'm sort of guilty of this. If you can have a real conversation with someone, the biggest gift is giving them your undivided attention. Not looking. Sometimes I'll be talking to Ellie and I'll be like, put her on speaker, and then I'm like seeing what else is going on. And I thought, that's my daughter, who, I love my daughters more than anything in the world. And why in the world would I allow myself to get distracted? And by the way, people know when you're not giving them your undivided attention. A friend of mine used to say to me, because she knew I was like on the computer and talking to her, she'd be like, so I'm really seriously considering killing myself. And I'd say things like, really? Oh, wow, that's nice. I wasn't really listening to her. But it's such a gift to really, really focus on someone. And even if it's not a long time, the gift of undivided attention is just irreplaceable. So anyway.
And I even think the Zoom thing, even though it's sort of awkward, but when you've got that little Brady bunch of faces up, and we used to do all of our team meetings over the phone, and it's creating a new bond in many ways. I think you're right. It's going to be so interesting. I think
an interesting topic to address sooner rather than later is probably how this is going to change our daily lives. You know, are people going to be less likely to travel? Are they going to feel uncomfortable? I mean, I think it has such long-term ramifications on our behavior and on how we relate to one another. I think it's going to be really fascinating. Hi, Israel. Someone's watching us from, isn't that crazy?
Oh, don't you love that? I get
Hi,
so
Israel.
excited.
Happy Passover. Anyway.
But how do you, so let's talk about daily routine, because I'm fascinated. As you said, you're driven by, you know, journalism and getting the news out to all of us. And so I can only imagine you already had this, you know, you were writing, you're in the midst of writing a book, your memoir, and you've got this, you know, this big slate of projects that you're working on. And then this happens and you're at home. So, I mean, what is your daily routine? What does it look like? And are you working harder than ever?
I'm working really hard. You know, it has a different rhythm. The day has a different rhythm. I love to sleep, Dylan. So I'm sleeping a lot. I wake up at like 8, sometimes even 9 o'clock. Yeah, I'm writing a memoir, you all. Oh, someone said they love my podcast. Thank you. Thank you for listening. So I actually love to sleep. And I think it's such a luxury to be able to lounge a little bit longer in
Good
bed
for
in the
you for
morning.
admitting that. Yes.
No, and sleep is so important. I just interviewed Shelley Ibach, who is the CEO of Sleep Number. It's going to be featured in our newsletter about the importance of a good night's sleep because it can set the tone for the day. You can eat too much. You're more irritable. I mean, it's just so, hi, South Florida. It's so important. So I'm getting a lot of sleep. I'm taking a lot of walks. Today is a terrible, rainy, dreary day on Long Island, but I'm trying to take walks. I really want to do more yoga, but somehow the day goes by. But we're also enjoying taking turns cooking. My daughter, Carrie, is turning out to be quite the chef. She cooks a lot of Alison Roman recipes. I'm doing a lot of Instagram Live.
Yeah. Oh, no, we just lost you.
Carly Kloss and Kristen Chenoweth. So it's just been really fun and I've stayed really busy. So, and we have 6 people here. John's son Henry is here with his girlfriend Candace. Carrie is here. Adriana, my assistant, is here. So we actually are getting along pretty well.
And are you making your bed and cleaning your sheets and all those kinds of things?
I am doing laundry and I'm making my bed. My husband just walked in. I'm kind of a mess. I'm a little bit of a mess. I'm a slob. It's true. And John is super neat. So he just gave me one of these when I said that.
Is John making the bed?
Yeah, we're both sort of. He's very, very tidy, but I'm trying to help and I'm helping in other ways. I'm the cheerleader of the house.
You know that our little shtick on this thing is that what are the 3 things that are getting you through?
Uh-huh.
If you have 3 items or 3 things that are really, you feel are keeping you through?
Yes, I would say writing my book gives me something that I need to do almost every day, some days more than others. The streaming services are definitely, you know, I just finished Unorthodox, and I think I'm going to be talking to the star of that show on an Instagram Live, which I'm super excited about. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet, but it's the talk of the town.
It's really, really good. She's awesome and beautiful and such an incredibly talented actress. So I would say that, and I watched Tiger King, which was super weird. If you want to feel normal, watch Tiger King.
I couldn't get through. I just couldn't do it.
You know, a lot of people, I think, you know, the world's divided into yes and no to Tiger King.
Yeah.
I thought it was fascinating. I thought they were really super weird, all of them. And did you see the takeoff, the masterclass that Chloe Fineman did on SNL?
No.
She did a masterclass with Carol Baskins.
Yeah.
Hello, you cool cats and kittens. Anyway, so blah blah blah. And
are you? Someone wants to know what you're reading.
Oh, what I'm reading. Well, obviously, I'm reading the book on loneliness that Vivek Murthy wrote called Together about human connection. And then I was reading
Gia Tolentini.
Yeah.
Trick Mirror.
What? Gia Tolentini.
Trick Mirror.
Yeah, Trick Mirror. Because Gia, is it Tolentini?
No,
that's wrong. She wrote, it's a bunch of essays, and she went to UVA, and she was on my podcast, my earlier
Which is
podcast.
her alma mater, everybody.
American Dirt. My daughter just read American Dirt and said it was awesome. I should read it. I find that I have a little bit of ADD, so I'm not the best reader right now, and I feel a little stressed. So
yeah,
I don't. It's not capturing my attention enough, and also I feel like I should be writing. But
so
it's
how
called
do
Trick
you
Mirror.
write? Do you go close yourself in a room, and what's your writing routine?
I sit and I work with Adriana. I have to, like, I'm doing some reporting in the process of this. For example, I'm talking about sort of my experiences and trying to understand things that I've witnessed. I've written a lot about Jay's death and diagnosis of cancer, and I'm calling his doctors. I'm calling people who worked with me on the Today Show about certain things. You can probably guess. And so I'm also doing reporting. But I really just kind of I'm dividing it up into chapters of my life. So when I got the job at the Today Show and what some of the high points of those 15 years, that's hard to write about, Dylan. And what CBS was.
Do you have any journal?
Well, I've never journaled, but that's the first thing Gene Shalit said to me when I got the job on the Today Show, keep a journal. I was like, that's a great idea. And of course I didn't. But the nice thing is so many of my interviews, I did Hillary Clinton's first interview as First Lady when I was at NBC. And it was so funny to rewatch. First of all, we look like linebackers, Dylan, in our shoulder pads. We look like, And then she showed me all around the White House. But what was hilarious is, it's just so interesting to look at it in terms of the big picture. She had to try to be very much the prim and proper First Lady. So she was quite cautious. And you see her kind of navigating. She's a real policy wonk. And yet she had to fulfill the traditional role of First Lady. And the way the hour was done, it was like, Hillary, America's First Lady. And it was a female voiceover, and it was super feminized. It looked like the opening of the Donna Reed show or something. And it just cracked me up because everything was so gendered back then, and still is, of course, to a certain extent. But I'm writing about that, so I have to rewatch interviews and
I mean, that's gotta be crazy watching yourself. Do you judge yourself when you're watching? Where you're like,
I'm so used to it at this point. No, you know what I usually think?
What?
I'm pretty good. I usually think, I'm like, wow, I really nailed that. I crushed it. Obviously, I don't have self-confidence issues, right, Dylan? No, if ever I'm feeling bad of myself, I'll watch an interview and I'll be like, wow, I did a really good job. And I just went right in there and I didn't hesitate to ask the hard, important questions. And the other thing that's getting me through, I heard that Glennon showed you some of her Better Living Through Chemistry items.
Yes, she did.
So this is how I'm kind of getting through it, and I'm not proud of it.
If you got to do it, Tate's is the way.
Oh my God. Honestly, they're like crack. I just love them so much. The problem is I'm always eating them at like 11:30 at night, and I just don't think, and then I wonder why I can't fit into my jeans.
Have you been putting on regular clothes, or have you been living in sweatpants like me?
I've been wearing a lot of athleisure.
Yes.
And like these slippers, aren't those cute? Somebody gave these to me, and they're by Pole and Swede. My niece called me and said, who made those slippers you had on? But aren't they cute? They're very cozy. I don't know if they still make them. This was a while ago. But I have my Outdoor Voices Athleisure leisure pants. Don't look at my belly. You know that? Have you seen the video or the photo of the woman with the rolling pin and her stomach is over the counter? Well, don't tell anyone because that was really me posing for the.
No, it
I'm kidding.
was not.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding, but actually, it could have been me because
like
that's how bad it's getting, Dylan.
Well, didn't it? I mean, yesterday for Easter, we were like, okay, we're going to dress up a little and maybe, I mean, it's been a month in sweatpants. And I put on my red jeans. That was dress up. And I was like, well, it's not going to happen.
You need to have a skirt with elastic, I think, right now.
I think I'm going to invest in brands that, have elastic waist.
Well,
I think that's
Ellie, you know, Ellie, my daughter, I don't know, we're just totally dishing here. I love outdoor voices too. I am a low-key comedian. Thank you. I'm not getting giddy. This is actually what I'm really like. Tell them, Dylan, this is how I act all the time.
This is the real Katie Couric.
Anyway, what was I going to tell you about? Oh yeah, Ellie, we had to postpone her wedding, which is so sad. But the silver lining, Ellie said, Mom, we don't have to worry about getting thin right now. And I was like, hot damn, Ellie, you're right. We don't have to worry until next summer. And then we'll try to lose weight so I can fit into my dress. But anyway, so I was sort of sad about that.
Has that been hard for her?
You know, she's been with her fiance, Mark, for many years, and they're living in sin. So they're just going to stay, you know, I think they're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what else?
All right. So what room are you in, by the way? We've actually, the team, before we got on, we were like, it's pretty fun. I got to see your piano room, and I got to see you one day. You were by the fire. The kitchen we've seen. We have not seen your unmade bed, but what else?
I think I posted it on stories when my room just looked like a bomb went off in it. And I was like, oh God, this is a little, I'll show you. Well, there's my little ring light. Isn't that nice?
Oh, and you know what? I will give you one little bit of feedback is sometimes I see the ring and it looks like you've got
it's in my eyeball, in my glasses, right? Look at that. Hello. Ooh, I look scary, don't I? I don't think I can wear these. These are like cheap. Well, these aren't actually cheap. A really nice woman. I'm going to get, oh yeah, that looks super weird. Like, hello.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's the like, ooh, that's.
But I'll show you something cool about these glasses. When you get your hair dyed, someone gave these to me.
No.
So when you get your hair dyed, you can just wear them like that. Isn't that funny? But I'm going to take them off, even though I'm sort of blind. You're just going to have to tell me if I'm getting any interesting, interesting messages.
All right, here's another question that the team just sent me that I missed. Hold on.
Hey, by the way, you do enough of these, Dylan?
Yeah.
And you're like, mother of God. What happened? I'm like, does anyone have any gaffer's tape?
I think you look amazing, Katie. I'm not listening to you.
It's the ring light.
Okay,
it's the ring light. Look,
look,
without the ring light.
Look at my zit. Look at that.
Oh, you're breaking out. That's nice.
But I'm doing lots of masks and stuff.
You are? Carrie was going to give me a facial last night, but it is just pouring out. Is it bad? Are you in the city?
I'm in Westchester, and it is, it's awful. Our power.
You know there are tornado warnings in Westchester?
Yeah. Well, if you lose me, you'll know why.
Well, please be careful. I mean, it's just horrible.
Wait, I have one question. Hold on. What advice do you have for college graduates right now? How should we handle graduating, job hunting during this pandemic?
Wow. I was thinking about that because John's daughter, Allie, is graduating from college. I feel so bad. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, yes, right? We have to understand and calibrate all the impacts on different people. But I feel so bad for high school seniors and college seniors who are not going to be able to sort of enjoy this huge watershed moment in their lives. No college graduation for some of these kids who have worked so hard, no high school graduations. I think that must be really, really hard. But I think it'll teach them a lot about resilience and about adapting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm the best person to give advice for people who are graduating, but I do think you just need to be aggressive and figure out what you want to do. I think a lot of things, the landscape is shifting, obviously. This is affecting almost every industry.
Yeah.
Businesses are going to have to cut back on advertising. People are cutting staffs. It's a very tough time. So I think look at industries that are doing well and really keep an eye out on companies like Peloton is doing well, for example, right?
Right.
And kind of food delivery services. I think it really, oh, look.
There it is.
Yeah. Do you
I'm a
use it
runner,
do
Katie.
you use it to hang clothes or do you actually use it?
I use it every other day.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
But
I'm not fast, but I use it.
I think that I don't know. What would you tell them, Dylan? I'm curious.
Well, my son Max is a senior, actually at Millbrook School, where you used to have a place. And the way I think about it is that it's hard. At the same time, this is something that you can't take away from any of them. Like there's a bond that all of these graduates, the COVID class of 2020,
Yeah.
will have forever. And in many ways, it's a moment where they're realizing the power of friendship, and what that means to be connected. And I think they're learning a new appreciation for that. So
Yeah.
I guess that doesn't help him feel any better, but it is true.
But what would you tell college graduates, Dylan, about finding jobs in the current climate?
I agree. I think maybe it's a moment of reinvention and thinking about, what industry, is thriving. I think, yeah, I don't know. I'm supposed to be asking you the questions.
No, I know, but I wish I had a better answer.
I
think that you can continue to be aggressive, and even if there is a temporary slowdown in the economy, which obviously there is, continue to be aggressive. I would, reach out to people and for informational interviews and just say, and start establishing relationships while you can. And if something doesn't come to fruition immediately after graduation or this summer or even this fall, I think maintaining those connections, asking people, what can I do? Can I volunteer? Can I do anything to help your business? I'm really interested in this. Can I be an ambassador? I don't know. I think you just have to be uber creative. And I think one thing I've noticed in this time is you see people being so creative in terms of producing films or little things on Instagram, coming up with ideas. D Night, that guy who does a virtual dance party every day. I just think you just have to, it's hard to kind of give blanket advice unless I knew what area they're really interested in.
Yeah.
But learn about companies, and just pay attention. And I think constantly think about how you could adapt your skills to the current climate, I guess. And to start developing, you can have informational interviews via Zoom. And I think showing initiative and showing interest and curiosity, for me, that really goes a long way. And even saying, I'd love to volunteer my time. I've got a lot of time on my hands. I'm learning the guitar, I'm Spanish, and I'm reading, I'm taking a master class, but how could I be of service? How could I help you right now? And anyone who's working in any industry, I just think it's smart to, now's a good time to say, I'd like to learn more.
Yeah. I think initiative shows so much. And also, I love it when people come and say, I've got an idea, can we try it out too? Who don't even say what can I do for you? But also, could I do this for you? So I love when someone comes with a specific idea too.
I was reading something about Aerosmith, about how I don't know, I read all this stuff and then I can't remember where I read it, but how they got together every month to just throw out ideas, and they called it something like, this idea sucks. And they said most of them actually sucked, but they throw out just spitballing ideas. And sure enough, there was usually one that was a really good idea.
Yeah.
So I think some of the time you're spending talking to your friends on Zoom or getting together with them, you should be spitballing ideas. Now might be a good time to have the germ or seed of a company come up and saying, okay, let's do that.
Yeah. I
I don't
like
know.
it, Katie. I think that's good advice.
I don't know. I hadn't really thought of that. Hi, Sassy. I like anyone whose name is Sassy. From
Are you?
John Bon Jovi's Instagram. Hmm?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Oh, maybe that was where I heard the
Oh,
Aerosmith.
that's where you heard the.
Yeah, the Aerosmith story. But I'm not sure if I don't know. But whatever. Okay, my
Well,
ring.
Katie, I
Yeah.
promised you 15 minutes and we've gone for 36.
Oh God, so sorry.
No, that's
I'm
not your
hiding my
fault.
eye because of the weird ring.
I know.
Here.
It's really funny.
Here, I'll move it that way.
Oh, someone see all these things. Awesome advice. You're such a joy, Katie. I mean, Katie, you are a joy.
Dylan is my biggest fan, you guys. She's been such a great supporter, and I'm such a fan of hers too, and what she's created. And that's true. Someone said we must be giving selflessly now. I think that's totally true. I think you can do both. You can have enlightened self-interest too, which my dad used to call it. You have to kind of think about, ideas but I think that should be coupled with serving other people, because this is a time where we really, really, really need to think about people who are really less fortunate and who are struggling. And, anything you can do, whether it's checking in on a neighbor, it may be just calling a friend who lives by herself and saying hi and checking in on a regular basis, and finding out about something in your community that has really, that needs help and could use your support.
So I think that's the perfect parting words. Wisdom.
Well, you know what? It's not really, but you want to wrap this up. So okay, those are the perfect parting words.
No. So what are the perfect? I don't know how to interview anyone, Katie. This is
yes, you do, Dylan. Don't be silly. Wait, before we go, tell me some of the other cool people you've talked to.
Well, actually, that's a good segue, because one of the tomorrow we're talking to. Wait, I have to write her name is Ty Dixon, and she's the chief of staff at the Women's Prison Association.
Oh,
and a cause that Makers is really passionate about is, helping formerly incarcerated women get jobs. And obviously right now, when we're talking about getting jobs, now is an even more difficult time for them.
Oh, absolutely. That's so important. And I'm actually very interested. We're doing this week's podcast is on giving birth in the time of Corona. And I interviewed a couple, and the husband wasn't allowed to be there for that 6-day period in New York before Governor Cuomo rescinded that mandate. And it was talking about sort of what it's like to be an OBGYN right now. And again, that line I was talking about, it was so apparent that in community hospitals and communities of color and low income communities, it's such a different situation than in well-funded, affluent communities. And it's really fascinating to me to figure out, I didn't know that pregnant women, for example, were more susceptible to viruses because their immune system is slightly compromised. And when the baby gets bigger, your lung capacity is reduced. Right. So I thought that was so interesting.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
What else have you got coming out this week?
Let's see. I am doing, what am I doing this week? I'm doing a bunch of stuff. I'm doing fun Instagram lives, some that are more serious. Like I interviewed the mayor of Seattle because she used to practice law with Jenny Durkin in Washington, D.C. She's such a rock star. You should interview her, Dylan. You would love Jenny. That. So this week.
And also you should interview Katie, the mayor of San Francisco. Amy Lane on our team was just telling me all about her. She was early to.
I've met her, and she's got a really cool name.
Yes. Amy, text us. What is it?
The mayor of San Francisco. She's really nice. She's got a really cool name. And you're right, I should interview her, and Gavin Newsom too. Yes. And the name of the mayor of San Francisco is London Breed.
Yes!
That is a cool name, London Breed, right?
Amazing. And she shut down. She sheltered at home really early and got a lot of feedback on
And
that.
so did Microsoft and Google.
Right.
They deserve a lot of credit too. Thank you, London Breed. Google is faster than you guys. Everyone's saying London Breed now. London Breed, London Breed, London Breed. But you're right. I should interview her. I'm interviewing Maria von Kerkhove from the World Health Organization, who's a doctor. She's from North Carolina. She's really an epidemiologist, I think. She's a PhD. Rachel Brosnahan. I'm talking to her, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Love her.
We're doing an Instagram live. I'm trying to do this thing called Happy Hour, where between like the hours of 5 and 7 or 7:30, I'm interviewing Camille Najad. Thank you.
Nanjiani.
Thank you.
Nanjiani.
I'll have that down by tomorrow.
Yeah.
Who I love. And his wife, who of course wrote The
Emily
Big
Gordon.
Sick. Yeah.
Emily Gordon. Yep.
Yeah. And so that's going to be fun. And then I'm going to interview a funeral director from the Bronx.
Oh.
Because, and I'm looking for a mental health professional to help as I told you, the doctors, nurses, and all the hospital workers. So and I interviewed someone this morning from the USTA because, the Billie Jean King Tennis Center is being transformed into a 475 bed hospital, including an ICU for spillover from Elmhurst Hospital, which is in Queens. And they're also making all these meals for hospital workers and for needy kids who rely on school lunches and school breakfasts for most of their nutrition.
Oh, I love that.
So I think when you asked me earlier, when I was sort of Debbie Downer at the beginning of this, you do see so many, I know funeral directors are unsung heroes right now. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's so heartbreaking. I mean, I can't even tell you. I hope you all will watch this interview I do with the funeral director in the Bronx because, it's just terrible. They're having to take pictures of people and send them to their families for I mean, it's just so heartbreaking. And I think that it's so hard. I think that's the saddest, most tragic aspect of this. I mean, there's so many, but how alone people are and how families don't have that opportunity to share this essential aspect of life, which is dying. And so funeral directors, I think I hadn't really focused on them, but I'm going to be interviewing this gentleman. So I'm busy all the time. I have to really carve out time to write my book because I could be doing stuff like this all day. I did something with the wing, and it's fun. And I think it does give us a sense of community, don't you?
I do. And we're so grateful that in your crazy schedule, you carved out Makers.
Oh, no. I listen, Dylan, I love you. And I love Makers. And someone asked me when, yes, trauma out there for healthcare. Yes, yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. So the interview, you all should follow me on Instagram because we post all these videos that I'm doing with Time Magazine on Instagram. And you also should subscribe to.
I was going to do this, Katie.
No, that's okay. I'll just tell them. I'll tell them. Subscribe to my morning newsletter. It's called Wake Up Call. It's katiecouric.com. And every morning we'll be saying who I'll be talking to that day. And that way you all can tune in on Instagram and you don't have to just happen to see so-and-so. Can you believe all these IG lives? I mean, it's crazy, right?
It's crazy. But you're rocking it, Katie. Yours are extra special.
I'm trying to give people information. Some people are just like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
I just made my bed. Yeah, I just ate a tuna fish sandwich. Isn't that interesting? Oh, hi, Joe. It's sort of like, what? And we do nightly summaries. Someone just said they like those. Oh, hi, Elise. My friend Elise Ryan, who did these beautiful bracelets. Not this is a scrunchie for Stand Up to Cancer. And actually, Elise, my bracelet is in my bathroom right now. But anyway.
Is that your cause, Katie? If you had to pick a cause that you want to raise awareness around?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Of course, Stand Up to Cancer is something I started 12 years ago with 8 other cuckoo ladies, type A ladies. We've raised over $600 million to fund cancer research by scientists who are working collaboratively. I think there's so many causes. I wrote a check for the World Central Kitchen because Jose Andres is a personal hero of mine. I think local charities are so important, local food banks, which are running out of food.
Yeah.
I think No Kid Hungry is good. Meals on Wheels is awesome because I delivered Meals on Wheels once or for a few days to do a story on them, and I was hosting their benefit. That's such an important service for people who are alone. So I think there are all kinds of what organizations. Also, I was supportive of Bethany Frankel's effort to give protective gear to doctors and nurses. It's called Be Strong, and that's a great organization because Bethany, man, she gets it done.
Bethany is a
She
go-getter.
scares me, but she gets it done.
She sure does. She's been a real leader in this. All right, Katie, you're amazing and a bundle of information. And
I don't know, Dylan, our energy, we feed off each other. So I think someone's saying remake our world. There's so many great organizations. I hope you'll post about those. And
yes, we will. We'll do a post about
but
all
not
of
just
these.
me. I mean, I'm sure everybody at Makers knows people that are doing great work. Get us PPP. PPE is another one. Get us PPP too. Anyway, all right. So
well,
this is Katie Couric reporting.
Yeah, this is Katie Couric reporting, not Dylan McGee. Yeah.
Here.
Ready? You do this.
I'm trying to avoid that, but every once in a while I'm like, it's not such a bad idea, maybe. Okay.
You look gorgeous. You're amazing.
Thank you. I did buy some lipstick at CVS because I didn't have any, and I was like, oh, mother of God, I look like the crypt keeper. Anyway, all right, Dylan, love you. Hey, everyone who joined us as we yammered on. Thank you for joining us. Everyone stay safe. Stay safe.
Katie Couric.
Continue washing your hands because I think you can get a little lax after a while, not to mention very dry.
How about the pedicure, manicure?
I bite my nails, Dylan.
Look, they are really short.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Terrible. Terrible.
Mine are bad.
I'm 63 years. Oh, yours look nice. At least you have little white stuff on it. You know, I'm 63 years old. I think I should stop biting my nails, don't you?
No. You know what? There are worse things you could do. If you have to bite your nails, go for it.
Okay. Listen, I got to go. I'm getting a little hungry.
Go eat your Tates. I love you. Thank you.
Bye, Dylan.
Mwah.
Bye.
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 Bye. Oh my gosh. How fun is she? Ugh. Fun, brilliant, heartfelt. That was fun. And thank you all for sticking with us and coming in and watching Makers at Home. We hope we're bringing a little joy and information into your lives. And tune in this week. Tomorrow we've got Ty Dixon from the Women's Prison Association, a topic we all probably don't know a lot about, and I hope you'll join and learn more. Tina Chen, the CEO of Time's Up, she's doing some extraordinary initiatives right now. And Sheryl Sandberg this week on Thursday. So follow us at Makers Women, and thank you all for being with us today. Bye. Oh, and thank you, team. I love you all, team. Bye.